Today we are making one of the most popular and beloved dishes in Turkish and Middle Eastern cuisine, İçli Köfte, also known as Kibbeh. This dish has been enjoyed for centuries across different cultures, with each region adding its own unique touch. Traditionally, it features a crispy bulgur shell filled with beautiful spicy minced meat filling, and it comes in many delicious variations. In this episode, I'm gonna show you two different ways to make it. First, we'll prepare the traditional version with a flavorful spiced meat filling, shaping it using different techniques to make the process easy. Then I'll share a lighter vegan version made with lentils, walnuts and olives. And instead of frying, we're gonna bake it. So let's begin. For the outer bulgur crust, I'm gonna use 2 cups of fine bulgur wheat, half a cup fine semolina, and 1.5 cups of hot water. I'm gonna soak for about 10 to 15 minutes and then continue adding the other ingredients. Meanwhile, for the meat stuffing, I sauteed 400 grams of ground beef. You can use mix of lamb and beef if you like. Since my ground beef was frozen, I first sauteed it, put it aside, and sauteed 2 big onions in about 4 tablespoons olive oil and 2 tablespoons butter. If your ground beef is not frozen, you can begin to saute the onion first and then halfway add the ground beef. Into my soaked bulgur and semolina mixture, I'm adding teaspoon of salt, half a cup of flour, teaspoon of paprika, heaped teaspoon of pepper or tomato paste, cracked 1 egg, and begin to mix with stand mixer either or by hand. Knead until it is a playable dough. It can take around 3-4 minutes with stand mixer and a bit more if you knead by hand. My onion is sauteed well, adding my ground beef back. And for the seasoning, I added 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon pul biber chili flakes, a teaspoon of black pepper. Give it a good mix. And a handful of chopped parsley. I'm using one from the freezer. And put it back in a big bowl to cool down completely. You can do this even in the morning or the day before. If the mixture is cooled completely, it is easier to shape always. Finally, I added about half cups of chopped walnuts and going to freeze some of the filling to show you the easiest method to make the içli köfte with the frozen filling later in the video. I have everything ready on my countertop, my filling and a beautifully flavorful spicy stuffing. The first shaping method I'm gonna show you is the easiest one, to give you confidence and encourage you to try making it yourself. First, I cut open a freezer bag and dipped my hand into water to prevent the mixture from sticking. Then I take a piece of the bulgur dough and roll it out thinly between the freezer bag. Now, using a cookie dough cutter, you can also use a big glass or bowl. Make a round cut. Get rid of the excess dough pieces on the side. Place from the minced meat filling. Then, with the help of the stretch film, the freezer bag, fold it, seal the sides, and we have a beautifully stuffed içli köfte with a thin crust and a filling. When I continued to shape with this method, I realized that if I dip my hand into oil instead of water, and also a little bit to the freezer bag. It is easier to shape and also take out from the bag. Next, I'm going to show you how to shape it in the traditional lemon-like form. Take a small portion of the bulgur mixture about the size of a golf ball. Dip your hands into oil, first shape into a ball, and then use your thumb to press a deep well into the center of the ball, creating a cavity. Take a generous amount of your flavorful filling and place it inside the hollowed out dough ball. Don't overfill it, leave some space at the top. Gently pinch the edges and close it, roll it into an oval shape. Once it's sealed, gently roll the oval shape in your hands, pressing lightly at both ends to create a lemon-like shape. For the third shaping method, if you portion your stuffing by squeezing a very cold mixture into oval shapes and freeze them fully, it becomes much more easier to place them inside a roughly hollowed bulgur mixture. Here I am demonstrating it with a cold mixture but not fully frozen since I didn't have much time. After placing the mixture, just shape it into ovals again. While this method requires an extra step of freezing the stuffing beforehand, I found it to be the easiest way to shape them into the classic lemon-like form. After freezing the kibbeh içli köftes, I transferred them into an airtight container, and now they are ready to enjoy whenever I want. But of course, this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't show you the final result. So the next day, I deep fried some of them from both shapes right from the freezer without defrosting them. They came out perfectly, a little bit crispy outside and crunchy and delicious. The best part is that you can fry just as many as you need whenever you need them. They make an excellent side dish or can even be a main dish. They are super convenient and trust me, they taste amazing. My friends, I briefly want to remind you that you can support my channel just by giving thumbs up, leaving your comments, and sharing my videos if you think it is helpful with your friends so others can also see and we can grow our community and I can continue to share more content. Thank you. Now let's move on to the vegan version of İçli Köfte or Kibbeh. This time we are using a flavorful lentil and walnut filling, and instead of frying we are baking it in a tray for a lighter yet just as delicious twist. I will be making half of a recipe to fit to my air fryer, but it came out so delicious you can double the amount and bake it in the oven. I boiled 3/4 of a cup green lentils until soft and drained the excess water. In a medium-sized pan, saute 1 diced onion in some olive oil, add some salt, then add the cooked lentils and mix thoroughly. To season, I added half a teaspoon each pul biber, chili flakes and black pepper, some cumin about a teaspoon, then add some chopped walnuts, and again some tomato and pepper paste. If you cannot find pepper paste, just use tomato, some chopped parsley again, and then I tasted and decided to add roughly chopped green olives. This really gave another deep flavor to the filling. So it is not must have, but if you can find, make sure to add some. Then, since it was kind of an experiment, I tasted the filling again and decided to add some more cumin, a bit of coriander and curry powder. Then for the outer bulgur crust, since it's gonna be vegan, instead of egg, I boiled one small potato to bind the mixture. And to the soaked bulgur and semolina mixture, I added flour, salt and some tomato paste. Give it a mix. Then added the cooked potatoes and continue to mix until it has a playable dough consistency. If the mixture is still hard, you can add more water and check the consistency. Normally, this içli köfte is baked in a tray by pressing half of the bulgur mixture, adding the filling and then covering it with the rest of the dough. But to make the most of my air fryer's baking area, I've decided to shape and bake it on baking paper like a pie. So I rolled half of the mixture between the freezer bag until it is big enough to cut with the plate I'm gonna use, and it can still fit to my air fryer. Cut and then take out the excess dough and transfer it to the baking paper and set it aside, and do the same thing to the rest of the dough. Then fill the first one, since it is on top of a baking paper, to transfer easily, generously with the beautiful lentil filling. Dipped my hand into water and press the sides and transferred the second part to cover. Seal from the sides. I sprayed some olive oil and spread so it can help to bake more and give a nice crust. And I have the beautiful dome-shaped içli köfte ready to bake. Now here is the mistake I made. I thought of using the crisper tray under my içli köfte so I can transfer it more easily, and just cut it into squares. And when I was trying to place it, this is what happened. Well, thankfully I was able to take it out with a little bit of crumbling on the sides, then put the tray first, and with the help of the baking paper was able to place it. If you know any more convenient gadget or ideas, please let me know. While my baked vegan içli köfte baking in 180 Celsius degree for 20 minutes, I shaped the little leftover balls in classic way, and here is the result. Looks nice. Wow, it is crunchy on the sides, lighter than deep fried. The filling is so delicious. If you wouldn't think carefully, you might think that it's made with minced meat even. It's very tasty. Look at this. Beautiful. It is better to have a round pan that can fit to your air fryer if you're gonna make a small batch. It can be square, rectangular doesn't matter, and it would be easier to just press them in patches. It doesn't have to be whole, so it's really very easy to bring it together. I just wanted to try this idea to bake in baking paper. It was not too hard to shape, but I had a little bit time to transfer it deep to my air fryer area. And that's it, my friends. We made delicious kibbeh, or İçli Köfte as we say in Turkish. I hope this recipe inspires you to make at home. Please let me know in the comments which one you would like to try it first. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Afiyet olsun. In the upcoming episodes, I will continue to share freezer-friendly traditional Turkish recipes that you can prepare in advance, either for Ramadan or keep ready to enjoy throughout the year.